Okay, could you please, oh, this is from Philip. Hey, Philip. I always like that name, Philip. Good name. Could you please comment, discuss the statement, the brain produces consciousness, and your opinion on this? As a spiritual person, I would like to hear what you have to say about this statement in particular. Well, the brain does not produce consciousness. Consciousness produces the brain. Consciousness produces everything. The brain does not produce consciousness. That would be the thought of some intellectual that couldn't get much past the physical realm, even though they're in the mental realms more than anything else. Yeah, consciousness is the original, that is the all of everything. That is what gives you awareness. That's what gives plants awareness. That's the awareness behind the eyes of everything. That's why animals go for the eyes. That's the God. When you look through an eye, you're looking at God. And all plants have eyes. Everything has eyes, has awareness, has consciousness to it. And creation is born out of consciousness. The brain is just a chemical synapse. It's just an electrical system with neurons and things like this. Where is images and pictures stored? Is it stored in the physical brain? No. See, you have to understand how creation is put together. Now, these are available, and I just got them done. I hope you like them. But this shows the God worlds, and we have this in level 1. Because if you don't understand how creation is put together, it leaves you a little, I can't figure out things. So if I can give you somewhat of a picture of what we know and what has been exposed, then you'll have it'll help, excuse me, it'll help you immensely to grow, to not get trapped in ideas like this. And so this is the new God Worlds chart I made. Isn't that beautiful? So I don't know how much, I'm trying to get the printer to make them as cheap as possible so we don't have to sell them for too much, just so you have a nice chart to look at the God Worlds. But let me show you, isn't that beautiful? And each one of these are different levels, different realms. This is the physical world and all its constellations, all its galaxies, how big that is. Well, the astral world, the next world up, is even bigger. They get bigger and bigger. They say the mental worlds are so huge, they are statues as tall as the sky. It's amazing. Sometimes when you're out of body, you don't know where you are. But this is beautiful, isn't it? And I think they're probably going to be $5 or something like that. I don't know yet. I'm trying to get a cost of what the printer charges for that, but I think they're really neat. It gives you an idea, because consciousness is everywhere. Everything is made of it. Life bores out of that, like a woman gives birth. And it gives birth. And these are states of consciousness. In other words, these are pieces of consciousness. Same thing as a shattered mirror, Philip. You take a huge mirror called the worlds and you drop it, or called God, and you drop it, and you have all these little pieces. They're all part of the mirror. They all reflect the same thing, but they're pieces instead of one. That's exactly the difference between consciousness and states of consciousness, or non-creation, in other words, the worlds of God consciousness, or consciousness and creation. It's that simple. One is infinite, one is finite. One is formless, one is formed. And the formed is simply the formless understanding itself and playing with itself. Let's think about this. If you're the only thing exists, what would you do? If you're the only thing exists, what would you do? You'd start playing. I think there's a show on TV where everybody was killed in the world but this one guy. What would you do? You blow up this car, you play this, yeah. And that's what's going on everywhere. Little toy soldiers fighting and everything else. Meditation one time I said, why? I said, just wanted to see what it was like. Interesting. Interesting. Hard to say, but it's enough to say that this is consciousness, pure consciousness. And when it hits creation, it then individualizes and separates. And that way we see Philip over there, and we see Shirley over there, and we see Brenda over there. In consciousness, we're all one. It's hard to say when you're it just all merges and becomes one. Hard to explain that. But Philip, I'm glad you this is a good question. You guys are asking some spiritual stuff. That's my favorite side. But absolutely, the brain is just a physical instrument of cells and electricity. It's a hard drive, but the consciousness that is perceiving and all that is at a higher level. The mind picks up and the perceptions of this, categorizes it, and puts it all in memory, right? Well, where is the memory in creation? Is it in the brain? No, there's a whole world called the causal world where all memory is stored. And that memory part of your mind can be viewed, and it's called the Akashic Records. And many psychics can read those, and they can look at your Akashic Records and see all your lifetimes. If you're working with a spiritual being, ask them to show you your Akashic Records. Most of them will show them to you. They showed me mine when I first started, and it was like, amazing. It's like little film clips. Amazing, amazing stuff. So, again, answering your question, consciousness has nothing to do with physical cells and atoms put together at all. They are part of or born out of consciousness. So consciousness is the cause, and creation is the effect. Good question, Philip. I like that.